The sequence of events leading up to February 10th has left an indelible mark of profound unease upon my consciousness. The narrative unfurled when I decided to make a new residence my home, a two-story dwelling that on the surface appeared tailor-made for the life of a dedicated research student. The initial allure of the location, with its proximity to the research lab, was undeniable. However, a disquieting element crept into the picture. The second floor of the house, shrouded in mystery and inaccessible due to the landlord's decision to keep it locked. Despite the nagging reservations prompted by this peculiar circumstance, the convenience of the house's location, nestled near the research lab, outweighed any misgivings. My move into the abode transpired on the 6th of February, a decision dictated by the logical alignment of its advantages with my academic pursuits. The grandeur of the spacious house became a solitude-laden reality as I found myself dwelling within its walls alone, an experience both strange and, at times, unsettling. The initial days passed with a semblance of normalcy. Occasional nocturnal disturbances, manifesting as dragging sounds emanating from above, registered in my awareness. Yet I dismissed these auditory anomalies as the banalities of nature, perhaps the sounds of nocturnal creatures or avian inhabitants. Nothing struck me as overtly concerning during this initial period. However, the night of February 10th ushered in a disquieting shift that shattered the illusion of normalcy. Engrossed in my work, the late-night atmosphere within the house assumed an eerie quietude, and a palpable tension hung in the air. Though an hour's worth of work remained, the encroaching fatigue and the ominous silence within the house began to wear on my nerves. The seclusion enforced by the locked upper floor lent an additional layer of anxiety to the situation. In an attempt to alleviate the growing tension, I decided to prepare a cup of coffee. As I rose from my seat, the balcony door, previously closed, began to creak open with an almost spectral deliberation. A gentle breeze accompanied the movement, and I attributed the occurrence to the capricious whims of the wind. Though I closed the balcony door, I opted against locking it, rationalizing the incident as a product of natural forces. Returning to my room, coffee in hand, I resumed my work with my laptop perched on my lap. It was then that an unfamiliar sound, akin to the dragging of footsteps, intruded upon the stillness. The disconcerting noise seemed to emanate from the balcony outside. Despite a surge of fear, I attempted to maintain composure and focused on my work for the next 20 minutes. However, the chilling events that unfolded thereafter shattered any semblance of calm. The balcony door flung open, prompting me to rush towards it with the intent of securing it. It was at this moment that a shadow outside the balcony door seized my attention, sending a jolt of terror through my veins. Panicking, I immediately dialed my sister, who, despite the physical distance, detected the urgency in my voice. Attempting to assuage my fears, she attributed my trepidation to the strains of stress and exhaustion. Reluctantly, I extinguished the lights in my room and lay on the bed, attempting to coax myself into sleep, all the while with my sister remaining on the line as a virtual pillar of support. The minutes ticked away, and the silence was ruptured by a knock on the door. My sister, now alarmed, implored me to illuminate the room. In the muted glow of the moon, I beheld a tall, dark figure outside the balcony door, its lifeless eyes fixed upon me as though meticulously observing every nuance of my being. Overwhelmed by fear, I screamed and bolted out of the house, my midnight cries rousing the neighbors from their slumber. After regaining a modicum of composure, with the assistance of a compassionate elderly neighbor, I finally mustered the courage to recount the night's harrowing events. To my astonishment and horror, the elderly lady disclosed a piece of information that sent shivers down my spine. The actual landlord of the house had passed away on the second floor a month prior due to severe health complications. Haunted by this revelation, I made the decision to vacate the premises the following day. Additionally, I lodged a formal complaint against the landlord, highlighting the omission of critical information regarding the property. The experience, etched into the fabric of my memory, served as a stark reminder of the thin veil that separates the tangible and the supernatural in the realm of the unknown. As I reflect upon the passage of 45 years in the tapestry of my existence, the contours of my past reveal a peculiar chapter from the early 2010s, where the rhythm of my days was punctuated by the demands of an arduous dual shift routine. This entailed weaving between the aromatic flower-dusted realms of a bakery in the early hours and the vigilant post of a security guard at a sprawling shopping mall, extending my presence from the break of dawn until the cloak of night at 10 p.m. The mall, a formidable edifice in the local landscape, stood as one of the few grandiose structures, hosting a diverse array of clothing stores, salons, and a lively food court, all cocooned under the expansive wings of its architectural embrace. Yet, behind the veneer of commercial activity and bustling consumerism, an enigmatic undercurrent pulsed through the veins of this retail colossus, revealing itself in peculiar and unsettling ways. This underbelly of mystery was unveiled gradually, and my role as a lone sentinel in the labyrinthine corridors of this mall became more than just a mundane profession. It became a conduit to the extraordinary. The circumstances leading to my solitary stint as a security guard were shrouded in the opaque dealings of the mall's management. Staff reductions had occurred, a fact unbeknownst to me during my early days in this peculiar post. Navigating the expansive reaches of the mall on my own proved to be a challenging task, the echoes of footsteps resonating against the cavernous walls, amplifying the eerie stillness that enveloped the space. A defining evening etched itself into the chronicles of my tenure. While immersed in the meticulous task of compiling a list of visitors at my desk, a figure emerged from the shadows, a woman bearing the title of salon proprietor from the mall's third floor. Her frantic gasps for breath and the anxiety etched across her face were harbingers of an unfolding drama. She urgently relayed a disconcerting message. An intruder had infiltrated her salon, necessitating immediate investigation. The hour had long surpassed the scheduled closing time of the salon, intensifying the urgency of the situation. Suppressing the impulse to unravel the mysteries surrounding this incident, I accompanied her up the labyrinthine staircases to the third floor. The ambience was pregnant with an eerie uncertainty, manifested in flickering lights casting grotesque shadows along the corridor. The woman, her grip on my shoulder growing tighter, confided that she had glimpsed an unwelcome presence within the sanctuary of her massage room. The approach to the massage room was a pilgrimage into the unknown, a journey fueled by a cocktail of apprehension and morbid curiosity. A commanding call into the dimly lit space yielded a surreal tableau, a room in disarray, bed sheets in tatters, chairs appended, and spilled massage oils conspiring with the chaos. The woman, now visibly shaken, and I stood in bewilderment as a mirror shattered, seemingly of its own accord. As we hastened towards the fragmented pieces of glass, darkness descended upon us, an abrupt shroud that intensified the palpable unease. In this cloak of obscurity, I fumbled for a flashlight, acutely aware of an intangible gaze fixated upon us. The act of assisting the lady in retrieving her belongings was now underpinned by the disconcerting feeling of being observed. Emerging into the night air, we abandoned the ritual of delivering the visitors list to the in-charge's office, our departure swift and decisive, fueled by an instinct to escape the unsettling tendrils that seemed to linger within the mall's labyrinthine confines. The lady, a benevolent soul who had shared in the disquieting experience, offered to drive me home, her kindness juxtaposed against the lingering aura of fear that had descended upon us. The days that followed only deepened the mystery, unraveling the unsettling truth. The company hadn't been downsizing its staff, but rather, employees were voluntarily relinquishing their roles due to the unexplained occurrences within the mall. A month passed before I too, prompted by a growing sense of unease, submitted my resignation. The realization dawned that the inexplicable phenomena unfolding within those walls were catalysts for a collective exodus, a silent retreat from the spectral undercurrents that defied rational comprehension. In the ensuing years, a chance encounter with a former mall employee during my continued journey as a security guard shed light on a macabre truth. The shopping mall, that grandiose structure, had been erected upon the hallowed grounds of a graveyard. His tales of night shifts echoed with the resonance of a spectral symphony. Aggressive banging outside the guardroom at the stroke of midnight, windows fogging up as if exhaling a phantom breath. The revelation sent shivers down my spine, and the spectral undertones of that chapter in my life cast a long shadow over my memories of the enigmatic shopping mall, leaving an indelible mark on the fabric of my personal history. Allow me to immerse you further into the intricacies of this perplexing tale, providing a more detailed exploration of the events that transpired. Before delving into the heart of the story, let me offer you a glimpse into the backdrop of my life. With a professional journey spanning 15 years in the realm of medicine, I've encountered the myriad facets of life and death. From the routine to the extraordinary, my experiences have cultivated a rational outlook, dismissing any inklings of the paranormal surrounding the deceased. However, one particular incident would shatter this conviction. It was a stormy night, not unlike many others in my career. The clock approached 1 a.m. as I retraced my path from the hospital. The weather, initially marked by a gentle drizzle, escalated into a tempest, unleashing torrents of rain upon the landscape. As I approached the main highway, the visibility plummeted, forcing a delicate balance between pressing forward and contemplating a pause until the storm relented. The impending 9 a.m. duty, however, spurred me on, despite the treacherous conditions. Navigating through the rain-soaked darkness, the routine of my journey took an unexpected turn when a sudden loud collision reverberated through the night. My headlights illuminated a solitary figure standing in the downpour. Fear gripped me initially, but a sense of responsibility prompted me to step out of the car and offer assistance to the lone woman. Remarkably unharmed and displaying no visible wounds, she remained silent. My apologies and assurances of medical aid, a reflex ingrained from years of practice, were met with her continued silence, adding an unspoken tension to the air. Her intense gaze bore into mine, leaving an indelible sense of unease. Despite the oddity of the situation, I couldn't shake the feeling of responsibility for the unintended collision. Offering to drop her off at her destination, she acknowledged with a subtle nod. Throughout the journey, conversation was sparse, contributing to the eerie atmosphere in the car. Upon reaching a designated point, she pointed to a corner and requested a stop. As I turned around to address her, she had vanished, leaving me perplexed in the midst of the heavy rain. It was as if she had dissolved into the obscurity of the night. Confusion and an unshakable preoccupation with her image haunted my thoughts, disrupting my ability to find rest that night. The mental turmoil eventually manifested in a physical ailment, compelling me to take leave from work. Determined to unravel the enigma, I decided to visit her supposed residence. A Saturday morning, my body weakened by illness, I opted for an Uber to transport me to her home. Arriving at the address, I rang the doorbell, greeted by an elderly woman who claimed to live alone. However, my gaze was drawn to a portrait hanging on the wall, a picture of the woman I had encountered in the storm. Inquiring about her, I learned that she was the daughter of the elderly lady, and the shockwave hit me when she revealed that her daughter had tragically passed away 5 years earlier in a car accident on the very same highway. Speechless, I bowed my head in respect and left the house, feeling a surge of adrenaline coursing through my veins. Returning home, I shared the baffling incident with others, and the suggestion of seeking cleansing at a church emerged. Though skeptical, I heeded the advice, and to my surprise, the throbbing headaches and recurring dreams ceased. This surreal encounter served as a stark reminder of the unfathomable and unsettling nature of the world we inhabit. It was a testament to the thin veil between the known and the inexplicable, prompting a reassessment of my convictions in the face of the extraordinary.